Morning, guys. Chris and Jamie from Tillman Family Farms. Today we're going to be working on this rusty roof. You guys have watched us kind of piecemeal this thing together. We don't have very much money in this barn. We use reclaimed tin. I got these poles for free. We use sawmill lumber, all sorts of different things like that. We got more labor in it than most anything. I know a lot of you guys have been like, why in the world would he spend all that time and effort putting all that rusty tin on that roof? Well, we're going to go through a process and I'm going to show you some of the products that we're going to use for this. Right now my focus is going to be the ridge up there. We're going to use a rust converter that takes 24 hours to cure, and then we're going to use a roof coating. So that will take another 24 hours to cure, but we're trying to get that portion of it done so that we can install the roof cap, and then we can start working on the rest of the flat roof. So let me go over the rust encapsulation part of it, and when we get ready to put the coating on, we'll go over that one. All right, so let me start off by saying that we are not affiliated with any of these products. We are not sponsored by them. None of that stuff. This is all, we're using these products based on my research is basically what we're doing, and what would be the right thing to use and all that kind of stuff. So our opinions are going to be, or I guess they're going to vary depending on the results that we get. So the first product that we're going to use is a rust converter. This is made by Krud Kutter. It's called Rustex Rust Converter. It stops rust and repairs rusty metal for painting. So what this does is it goes in and it causes a chemical reaction with the rust, and it turns it into iron oxide, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I read. I don't know, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I read it and it was one of the most impressive ones to me, so I figured we'd give it a shot. But you have to go through a process before you use it. You have to knock off all the loose rust, sweep it down, try to make it as clean as possible before you start applying this. So I'm gonna go through a couple of things that I'm gonna be using. I've got a brush with a really long handle on it, so I don't have to move so much on the roof. And then I've got a regular broom. I got a wire brush for the really rough spots, and a paintbrush and a roller to apply this stuff. So let me gather those things up real quick, and we'll go over it and show you guys what we've got, and then I'll climb my big butt on the roof and we'll get started. All right, so real quick, I'm gonna go over this stuff real quick that I'm gonna be using. So old beat up broom. This is the garage broom. But I didn't want to just go out and buy a bunch of new stuff. It's gonna get ruined anyway, so we're using old stuff. Got a small paint roller, got a used paintbrush, got an old wire brush from the shop. We have my wife's battery powered blower. No gasoline needed. And then we have this long push broom. Long, I say. This is a paint roller handle that extends. Thought that would be useful up there on the long roof so I wouldn't have to move around. And then we have a rusty metal paint pen. So maybe this rust converter will add a few years to our rusty paint pen. Whatever. Let's get started. All right, so here's a little close-up of what we're working with here. So if you've ever been around some rusty tin before, a lot of this is surface rust. There are a few places that kind of were a little bit worse than others, but if I'm not mistaken, I think my wife paid $100 for all this reclaimed tin on this roof. Yeah. And man, I'm gonna tell you, it sure has saved us a lot of money, because we would have put $2,500 to $3,000 worth of tin on this roof. All right, so I'm up here. I am not a barn builder by no stretch of the imagination. It's not my trade, but I've built a bunch of things in my time. So this is what I'm dealing with. We still have to put a ridge cap on here like I was talking about earlier. So we're going to be working on probably a foot both ways, getting it ready for that. So I'm going to start and go down one side. I'm going to take my wire brush first and walk all the way down this side, knocking up the the sure enough tough stuff. Not going to spend a lot of time doing this. I'm just going to hit it and move on. This rust converter is supposed to do most of the work, so we're about to find out. And I said I'm not going to hit it too much. This is about all I need. So there you have it, about 15 minutes. And I hit about a foot to 18 inches all the way down this left side of this shot here. So I'm gonna grab the blower and see how easy this stuff is gonna blow off. All right, so far so good. So the whole reason I got a brush and a roller is because so you got a lot of ridges and cracks and crevices and all that stuff. So I'm gonna use the brush to get into those areas, and then I'm gonna use the roller. And I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna go one sheet of 10 at a time, just kind of rolling down to where I think I'm gonna try to do, or actually not past where I just prepared the surface. So I'm gonna try to do my best to video some of this one-handed-ish. I don't have a camera stand that'll get up here, and I don't have anybody that will get up here. Where you at, James? Don't you want to get on the roof? Don't you want to get on the roof? She said no. Nah, yeah, that's what I thought. Speaking of my bride, wave. No, she can't hear me. Anyhow, so I got this stuff poured in, and man, it doesn't look anything like I thought it would. I thought it was gonna be kind of like a white pasty type something, but that's it. So I'm about to start tackling painting in these crevices and you know, these little valleys and all this other stuff, and we'll see what happens. All right, so quick update. So that's what it looks like, and it's still kind of wet. This stuff says it takes 24 hours to do what it's supposed to do. This stuff's supposed to be black when I come back to it, but learning curve. This stuff is really thin, and when you apply it on a roof, it runs. So you can see I ended up going way past where I had brushed it down with a wire brush. So it's going to give us an opportunity to see how well this stuff works, and how much do we really have to brush. These areas that I ended up having to cover that I didn't brush, we're going to see how well this converter worked on them, and how loose that stuff is after this process, and how much of the actual wire brushing we're going to have to do. We want to do it right because we want it to last as long as it possibly can, but it's always good when you can cut out a little work. All right, so I'm going to say it probably took me about an hour to do this. And at this end is where I started. So this will probably be where I could see the most change in it over the next few hours, but not supposed to be completely finished with it for 24 hours. So, and I ended up going a whole lot further down than I wanted to, just because of how thin this chemical is, and it was kind of running. So like I said, we're going to be doing a test to see if the areas that I didn't wire brush are going to do all right or not. So anyhow, I'm going to hit this side now, and then we'll pick this video back up tomorrow to see where it is, and then we'll go over the other coating. We're close enough to town that we can hear the 12 o'clock sirens for the test. We got dogs and everybody else going crazy out here. So it's 12 o'clock, by the way. So tomorrow didn't quite work out. It's actually been about 3 weeks. I did all of that first portion of this video right before it got really cold. So the temperatures for this roof coating were they're just way too low for this stuff to go on. So every weekend I was like, can I do it today? Can I do it today? And watching the time frame, that has to be like 12 hours. It has to be above 40 degrees. So I just couldn't get it done. So I started that back before Christmas, and it is the first weekend in January. So didn't quite work out. But anyhow, I've got my roof coating. I've got my drill with a mixer. You have to mix it up pretty good. So I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna get a small bucket because I'm afraid to take this big bucket up there. I'm gonna take a small bucket and put some in, and that way I'll be able to take it up there with me and start doing some areas. But first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get up on the roof and I'm gonna look at what I did and make sure that everything still looks good. I mean, from the ground, it still looks great. There's a complete total definition between where I worked and where I didn't work. So I have been a little bit impressed with that. I just want to make sure that the cold weather and the several rains that we've had have not backed me up and I don't need to start all over from scratch. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that everything's still good to go and I can get right up there and start painting this stuff on. So I'm up here and everything still looks really good. I am gonna take a broom and just kind of sweep it down a little bit, and I'm gonna get started putting this coating on. All right, so we got our bucket of Henrys here, and I'm just gonna take a flathead and you just stick it in these things and you open them all up. And then I'm gonna take my drill with a mixer on it and get this stuff mixed up all nice and neat. So this stuff's supposed to be silver, and you can see how much it needs to be mixed up. So that is, it's kind of black looking. Got a pretty simple little mixer to get it all mixed up with. So I'm gonna get over here and get it mixing. So I feel like the mixing is probably one of the most important steps right here, because that stuff was completely separated in the bucket. Took me about 10 minutes to even get it to color up the color that it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna go grab my bucket that I was talking about a minute ago. I'm gonna get some of this stuff put into it, and I'm gonna head up on the roof with a broom and start getting this stuff put on and see what we come up with. So what I plan on doing is going down both sides as I go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and catch a couple of sections here and then start trying to get started. Right this minute. So there's two ways to put this stuff on. You got a big brush with a handle on it so you can cover a lot of ground really quick. But I'm not quite sure how I will like that or not. But I'm starting with a paintbrush because I've never done this before, and we're just gonna see what it's all about. All right, so I've swept away all of the loose stuff that's just gotten on here, and I'm probably gonna be starting a little bit out of the camera view here, but I got this camera set up on the roof and it's a little bit difficult. But I'm gonna get this stuff going, and I will catch you guys up here in just a minute. But like I say, regular paintbrush, and then I just got a bucket with a little bit in it, because that, if I had to say, that bucket was 40 or 50 pounds. And I just didn't want it to slide off the roof or something like that, because it's not a, can't put the lid back on it, so to speak, and snap it down or anything like that. So not that 40 or 50 pounds coming off a roof would benefit from having a lid on it. But let me get a little section done. I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna show you what I did, and then if I get back this way, you'll actually see it going on and see the difference as it happens. All right, I think I finally got a section that the camera can see. I already swept one time, but I had some trash on my boots. So I'm just gonna get down here. If I don't throw my broom off. So I have not gone down and gotten any more of this. So literally, guys, I'm just painting this stuff on around the screws. So all the screws that we use have a rubber grommet, a rubber washer rather, but still getting all up around them and sealing up around them as best I can. So I also did, before I started filming, I did a small section behind where the camera is, just so I could see what was going on with it. But as you can see, you can put this stuff on as thick or as thin as you like. What I've been doing at the end of it, once I get everything coated, I've been coming back like this and just making sure that everything has one nice kind of smooth looking stroke to it, so that it just doesn't look like a kindergartner was up here in art class. But and it's going to go really, really slow with a paintbrush, but I don't mind that because I really, really want this to be kind of as detailed as possible. With this brush, I'm able to kind of direct and point this sealer stuff into places that I want it and things like that. So I'm definitely not going to get in a hurry with this at all. I'm doing about 2 feet on either side, so I'm going to keep on keeping on, and when I get some down through here, we'll go back and we'll look at it, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Drastic difference. I think we're going to really like this, and definitely not as expensive as putting new tin on an old beat up barn. Making a little progress. So this is long and trying, but I like using the brush because I can get in a lot of the crevices and whatnot where this metal doesn't fit together great. So I'm not complaining. We're just going to keep on trucking. All right, so I got both sides done all the way down to the end. This is gonna be a good start. It took me a little longer than I thought it was gonna take me. We'll get back out here with my rust converter tomorrow. Should have some good weather tomorrow, and going to start patching holes and things like that. I'm gonna do a completely different video on that. But patching holes and getting the rest of this done so we can get the rest of it converted, or I'm sorry, painted, covered, sealed, whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, it's been a long, daunting day on the roof, and I'm pretty sure that here in January, the right side of my face is sunburned. All right, guys, so that's gonna be it for this one. I got a lot of cleanup stuff to do, but so the next one I'm gonna do patching holes and things like that. That'll be another video tied in with this. Then we're gonna get the rest of that roof coated. We're gonna get the roof cap on it, and hopefully we'll be done from there. I am filthy. I have the stuff all over me. We appreciate you guys watching. If you don't mind, please go down, like, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next video.